Welcome back to Warriors Weekly, presented by Esurance. In our behind-the-scenes feature, David Lee talks about the transition to the Warriors and his adjustment to the Bay Area. We're sitting down with David Lee at his place in San Francisco, and we've done a lot of basketball conversation, so this is where we probe. I do my Barbara Walters when we find out about you. We'll start with San Francisco. New York, San Francisco, big cities. You're a city guy, but that's not your background. How does a Missouri guy become Mr. City?
I know I grew up in St. Louis and grew up in the county in St. Louis, so not near the city at all. That downtown there isn't half of what New York City or San Francisco is size-wise. And then went down to University of Florida, which is in the middle of nowhere. And if it wasn't for the campus, wouldn't have much going on. But when I went to New York, me and my girlfriend got used to living in condos and living in the city. And then I just brought that out here. So when I had the option of where to live, I chose San Francisco downtown, and I like my decision.
Adjustment, New York to San Francisco? Is it still both big cities, so there's similarities, or what's different?
No, there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of differences. Both cities, both similar lifestyle. The difference is I think things move at a little bit of a slower pace out here, which is good during the season. It's good to keep your focus, and everybody's not moving 1,000 miles an hour. And there's met a lot of nice people out here versus New York. The average person you meet on the street might not be as friendly, but it's a great city. Really enjoyed it, and the weather is a lot better than it is in the wintertime.
What does David Lee do for fun in terms of, I see you on game day. You're one of these guys that's there the earliest, all these little rituals and things like that.
Yeah, I think that means that I don't have much going on other than basketball.
I don't want to go there.
I think that gives it away. No, my girlfriend tells me all the time, my family, that I need a hobby, and that's I kind of live and die by the game of basketball sometimes during the season. But hobby-wise, I just tend to relax, play some video games, watch movies, like to play poker a lot and do stuff like that. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on. During the season, I'm pretty focused on basketball and try to put in a lot of work. And then in the off season, I try to relax and get away from the game as much as I can for a month or two, and then I'm right back to work.
During the season, are you one of those guys, you've played, the highlights are on, you're watching it, or it is an off day and you're watching a game? Are you that basketball centric?
You know what? No, I try to at least mentally get away from it. I'll watch some SportsCenter highlights and things like that. But no, I'm not a guy that's going to be like, oh man, the Lakers are playing the Clippers tonight. I'll watch the pregame show to see what their thoughts are. No, although pregame shows are pretty entertaining, your pregame shows. But other than that, no, I don't try to overkill it because I think about the game enough and I'm around the game enough that any extra stuff on like an off day, for instance, might drive me crazy.
San Francisco being David Lee Day and meeting the mayor and City Hall and key to the city and all that kind of good stuff, that had to be pretty special, I would think.
That was pretty cool to get out here and to have that right away. I think when I was drafted in New York, I think everybody booed.
With the 30th pick in the 2005 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select David Lee from the University of Florida.
And then I got a call and said, get to New York by noon tomorrow. You have your press conference. And then I got there and they announced Channing Frye and Nate Robinson, and they had fireworks going off. And then they had like this little table over to the side where they had me sitting there like, by the way, if anybody wants to ask him a question, everyone's like, nah.
Thanksgiving kids table?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what they had for me. So to come here and to have that right away was great. But at the same time, I know there's still a lot of work to be done, and that's why it was frustrating getting injured. I wanted to get off to a great start this year, and haven't had the perfect start, but things are headed in the right direction, feeling better out there, and that's what's important.
The David Lee Court. It's kind of cool in terms of the Warriors and the Good Tidings Foundation have always renovated these courts around the Bay Area, and to see a David Lee court right off the bat here is a good thing.
Yeah, I thought that what better way to kind of start my arrival process than by doing something in the community. And I definitely, I didn't realize it would be such an unbelievable result. Because I hadn't seen any of the other courts that had been done, but they did an unbelievable job, and I already told the people at the Warriors that I'm going to do a couple more around the city here, and that's something that I want to do again because it really turned out great, and kids have a place to go play hoops, and people in the community have a place to go do that. So anytime that I can help people out something I'm happy to do, and that worked out great.
One of the stories I had read about you, and I talked to a bunch of people at the Knicks when the Warriors acquired you, the Knicks had a security guy that had passed away, and you were the only player that chose to go attend the services and the funeral, and it's a great human gesture. It's extraordinary because not a lot of people would do that. Where does that kind of, just caring for people, where does that kind of come from? Well,
once again, from my family. I had a grandfather that sold a company and did well for himself, and until the day he passed away this previous year, donated close to $70 million to different causes and gave away basically every dollar he had. And that's where it comes from. My family's always preached, try to treat people the right way, and I believe that, whether it's the Warriors, the Knicks, any organization, it's only as good as the people that work for them.
All right, so let's get into the superstitions here now.
Right.
Okay, X amount of hour before the game in terms of shooting. There's a bagel with peanut butter involved.
Yeah. Which I get a lot of trouble for. Right?
There's hanging out in the locker room, basically like holding court as various people arrive. What are the? I mean, is this? Are you have this obsessive compulsive disorder? Are you the Rain Man of the NBA? We need to get to this.
I'm borderline. As a young player there, I used to get there 3 hours before every game. I used to get my extra work in before the veterans got there. And then when I started playing more minutes and when I started to be a starter and then a captain, I didn't see any reason to change that. I thought, basketball is about constantly improving. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And I decided, hey, I'm going to stick with that routine. So yeah, here we go. 3 hours before the game. So 7:30 game, normal time. I leave the house, I get home first of all from shoot around. I take a nap from like 1 until 4. Until about 3:30, leave the house about 3:55 to 3:56.
Same driving route?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I even take the same lane down there because a lot of times there's traffic in the right 2 lanes. So then we get there, get to the arena, listen to probably the same 5 or 6 songs randomly. You don't have to ask what those are. Then get there about 3 hours before the game, get my workout in with Coach Rob on the court. Then I go back and there is the pregame meal thing. Andres walks in every single game. Oh, you had to do peanut butter, every single time. So, yeah, I usually do bagels, a couple bagels with peanut butter, a couple bananas, keep it real simple, not too heavy. And then watch some film with young Epe, and pretty much it. And then I'll get ready to go. But I try to stay real focused 4 games and try to just get as much downtime as I can so I can be ready to come out and play hard.